everybody, it's Aaron back from Screen Stars here once again to do another review for Geek Legion of Doom, and today I am reviewing the family adventure movie Surviving the Wild, a movie that stars Jon Voight and also includes Jamie Kennedy and a young actor called Aidan Cullen. And this film tells a story of a young man, a 13-year-old boy who has just lost his grandfather Gus, who he had a great deal of affection for and had a huge part of his life when he was growing up. And while at the funeral, he basically asks his mother if he could take the grandfather's ashes up to this mountain out in the wild that meant an awful lot to him and his grandfather, so that he could spread the ashes. Basically, the mother refuses because she wants to keep the ashes on, on a shelf at home, and the father refuses because he's not the outdoors type and he doesn't want to go camping and do this trip with him, etc. So he decides to trick both his parents and essentially do it himself and set off packing for the trip, because he's been taught how to survive in the wild by his grandfather Jon Voight, and he decides to do it himself. So he packs everything up, off he goes into this trip into the woods on his own to try and do it on his own. Now the twist here to this tale is that he actually sees, it doesn't really make it clear in the movie, but the spirit of his grandfather, and he communicates with him throughout the whole movie. So that's where the Jon Voight angle comes from here. Whereas he's clearly dead at the beginning of the movie, the young man sees the embodiment of his spirit and he's talking to him constantly throughout the movie. Now initially that's a bit jarring and kind of feels a bit odd and creepy, but it becomes actually quite natural by the progression of the movie, and you completely accept it, which is fair enough, I suppose. Now, as the title suggests, Surviving the Wild, things don't exactly go according to plan for the boy, and he ends up having to battle against the elements to a certain degree. Now, don't get me wrong, this isn't Castaway with Tom Hanks, and it isn't the recent Jungle with Daniel Radcliffe. It's not extreme conditions that he has to survive. It doesn't show extreme problems that he has to solve. It is fairly tame, really, the stuff that he has to deal with. But it's a family movie, but he still has to deal with them, nevertheless. So he's off in the woods, he's having a jolly old time, and he's taken the dog as well, his grandfather's dog Riley, along for the trip, which always adds to the fun elements in movies like this. And his parents eventually figure out what's going on, and they decide to chase after him to try and rescue him from his perils. And that's the kind of the movie that we get here. I have to say, I didn't expect to, but I actually quite enjoyed this movie. And the reasons why I say I didn't expect to is initially when it first started, it felt a little bit TV movie of the week sort of thing, and it felt a bit odd and a bit tame. But I have to say, it picked up tremendously to the point where I really quite enjoyed it to a certain degree, and a lot of that is down to, I think, two performances here. Jon Voight is tremendous in the movie. I really enjoyed his performance. There's a lot of charm, and he's having a lot of fun with the role, I think, which really helps the movie. And the young actor called Aidan Cullen, who for much of the movie carries it, and he does a really, really good job. Initially I was a bit concerned. The first 5 minutes, 10 minutes, I wasn't convinced with his performance, but it picked up massively, and he did a really, really good job of carrying the movie, I have to say. So it was a bit of a surprise, this movie. I did enjoy it, and I have to say by the end I got a bit choked up and had a bit of a lump in my throat, I don't mind saying. And now for me, that's always the power of a movie. If it can make you feel real emotion, then it's done its job as a movie and it's engaged you as an audience member. So that's why I think it does its job, this movie. And I think if you're looking for a fairly decent family adventure movie, you could do far worse than this. You really, really could. I didn't dislike it at all. It's certainly very watchable. So I would give this movie a solid 7 out of 10. Thanks for watching.